All right, welcome back here to round number 2 of Monday Modern here in Portland, Oregon. I'm Travis. Hanging out with Ian, we're Portland Paper. We stream analog Magic the Gathering content. And we got an interesting matchup here. Should get a fair amount of magic in this matchup. A couple kind of fair decks. Looks like we have the classic Jund paired up against Bant Superfriends.
I really love that Jund has kind of weathered the storm. There was a little while where I was worried that Jund might just not be good enough. And I think it's really good to have it as a like plenty viable deck in the format.
Yeah, I think I'm a big believer in a healthy format has a mix of aggressive decks, mid-range decks, and control decks. And those don't have to be the typical colors that we think of with that iteration. But yeah, when there aren't mid-range decks in the format, I feel like that's a problem.
It's also kind of crazy that it has a literal monopoly on the color pair. Like the deck is just the color pair and has been that way for, or the color trifecta, I suppose. And has been that way for quite some time.
Sweet, we get an Oath of Nissa. Starting off the game here by Sam, and just pick up Flooded Strand.
Oath of Nissa, a card that I could certainly see spiking. Has it spiked since war?
It did. It was a $1 card for a long time. And I think it's probably like, well, it was less than $1, and I think it probably is. Oh, my guess is gonna be $6, something like that.
Wow. I was thinking about picking it up, but missed the boat.
Yeah.
Just gonna have to keep only playing Dak Fade, and then I won't need it.
Oh, I do like Ryan's choice on art for Dark Confidant.
Yes, OG Bob.
Yeah, I never understand like how people call it Bob when they're using the new Master Set art, because it's like literally Bob's the person that's on
Right.
the card. That's
Yeah.
not Bob. You're playing Dark Confidant.
Agreed.
Okay, Sam's got 4 mana. Do you know it costs 4 mana? Probably a lot of Planeswalkers.
I imagine that's true. Looks like he is working on the process of cutting Ryan off of red. Most of these Jund decks, I believe, still do not play a basic mountain.
I recently Field of Ruined, activated Field against a Jund deck, and they got basic mountain. And
He has one in hand.
I was
sorry.
very surprised.
Yeah, he has a basic mountain in hand. So, surprise.
Okay.
To me also.
I think it does have to do with the uptick in Field of Ruin type effects.
Yeah.
Where you don't want to get cut off of a color. And so, even though it's usually a pretty bad draw most of the time, being able to get it off of a path or field type effect is worth it.
Sure.
Well, a good way of dealing with Planeswalkers is with damage spells, and Ryan revealed a Lightning Bolt off the top from that Bob trigger.
It's a nice pickup, sitting on that mountain in hand. He's not going to have any problems casting it.
Go to 17.
And looks like we're going to want to play a 3-drop, or at least multiple spells.
That's the only option there.
Starts with that IOK, hits a Nissa.
All versions of the fetch lands, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Which one is that?
Yeah, I'm not a green mage if chat wants to help us out on which Nissa we just saw.
It's the plant Nissa, chat. Help. Plant token Nissa.
Is it Vastwood Seer? Is that the one?
I thought Vastwood Seer was the one that fetched a forest.
Yeah.
Down to
Oh, we get another lightning bolt off that Dark Confidant.
And Sam just sitting on a big handful of lands.
Yeah, does not. The friends have yet to show up.
Yeah.
They may be super, but. And Ryan just having really good preemptive answers to any Planeswalkers that do come down.
And
your go.
when Bob is left alone, he is just as super as any other friend that Sam might have.
Yeah, I kind of like it when Bob's on my team.
Yeah, it's such a sinking feeling. Like, when they get one card, it feels bad. Voice of Zendikar, that's it. Thanks. When they get one card, it feels bad. When they get more than one card, you feel like you're just going to lose.
All right. Let's see if we got any friends. Oh, there's a friend. Pretty much you're just paying 1 green mana to search for a card to hopefully get something out of its one activation, and then it's going to die to lightning bolts.
Yeah, it's so sad. And then Ryan's going to draw 2 cards again next turn, and then 2 cards again the turn after that.
I like drawing cards.
Although, Sam can start getting some damage in with that Heart of Kieran.
It feels like this game isn't really going to be about damage.
Maybe. You never know when Bob wants to flip and
I mean, I kind of like Gideon staying at 4 just because of a minus with the Heart of Kieran. Oof, ouch. I was going to say it's going to cause the Gideon to eat 2 lightning bolts, but now it can just eat an attack and 1 lightning bolt. And Ryan coming up roses here with just 1 mana hits off that Dark Confidant.
yeah. That said, I imagine Thoughtseize is not going to be that useful here with Sam basically just playing off the top.
And I think that was known information.
2 at Gideon. And Bolt to finish him off.
And Ryan is keeping that basic mountain in hand, which I feel like could maybe be him not wanting to show that there is a basic mountain in the deck to perhaps if we get a game 2 or 3, have Sam use Field of Ruin trying to shut Ryan off of red and then get surprised.
That's definitely next level play, and if that is in fact what he's doing, I would love that. Super impressive to be thinking about things like that. I think there's a point that it could be greedy, you know, like if he needs to activate the Raging Ruin, then obviously like toss it out there. This game is probably iced, but
yeah,
he doesn't really know what Sam is capable, or my guess is he doesn't really know what Sam is capable of because, you know, Bant Superfriends is kind of a Sam special.
I think I'm leaving it as the last land I play, definitely. But if you need to double or triple spell, it's probably the wiser move to play the land.
Agreed. Bob just doing it all here. Finding Goyfs, getting in for 2.
Well, Ryan's actually drawing cards. Sam seems to be drawing lands.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're drawing actual cards and drawing 2 a turn, it's a commanding position.
And Sam is sitting on that Field of Ruin, so, you know, decent chance he fires that off. I would even love for, with Ryan this far ahead, to consider like a fail to find even on the Field of Ruin. Is that too greedy?
It feels like you're winning this game. Maybe being able to win by concealing as much information as possible is a good route. But I would find some lands.
You wouldn't fail.
I would not fail to find.
Yeah, I think you could probably safely get a forest and not have Sam think too much of it.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that Jund has enough swamps to cast a Liliana of the Veil under a Blood Moon and a basic forest.
You'd just be overselling it at that point.
Land creature. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'd be 6. Yep. So this is actually, yeah. No wait, tribal.
So it's 7.
So we have sorcery.
Talking about some Goyf math here.
Okay.
We have almost the Goyf is almost as big as its full potential. We're just missing tribal.
Yep.
+1 targeting Charmer Bush.
Okay.
That's such a.
Prevents all damage he will deal.
It just. I love Gideon, but this just doesn't feel great, I'm sure, on Sam's side.
Now we get a fog for the Goyf, but
Yeah. I mean, Ryan is going low here, and if he hits a Bloodbraid Elf off this Bob, Gideon's a 4/4 attacker with Indestructible.
well, Tarmogoyf can just block it.
Fine.
Just saying.
After a Wrath effect, Gideon's a 4/4 attacker.
Tap, upkeep, trigger.
Yep.
Ouch.
Who?
Oh, called it. Shots called. Well,
I'm not fetching again if I'm Ryan, that's for sure.
no, absolutely not. I must say that I really love games where Bob's damage actually starts to matter. I love the sweat of a Bob flip for possible death. Ooh, play it.
Don't play it.
Play it.
Ryan's like, how do I lose this game by
Ryan,
playing that card?
Smart enough to know.
That was really amusing.
100% makes the right choice and does not play Bob, much to my chagrin.
Send both creatures at Gideon to trials. Because you said this one was prevented right.
Huh.
Your turn.
Knocks Gideon out here. I suppose he will be coming in for. Okay.
Right at the top one.
Wipes the board.
That's what I needed. Yep. Pass.
He's got mana up to field the Raging Ravine.
Oh, are we gonna see this mountain?
Ryan's actually having to truly debate this. I think you have to play it. I mean, if he wants to activate the Ravine to force that field and do anything else, okay. Oh, he kind of sneaks it into the graveyard there.
Go.
Yep. Oh, okay, so Asus is gonna get hungry.
Yep.
I think I would have liked to see if there's a basic left in Sam's deck. I guess if there's two basics left, search for basic, activate field, but mana efficiency there.
Possibly. He's sitting on quite a few lands. You think Lily's going to be ulting next turn?
End step. What creatures do you have?
I think I would probably ult Lily if I were... Or maybe... difficult.
So one counter here, gain a life, I'll go to 6. Yep.
Again, Ryan's at that point where it's like, how do I lose this game, right? He's got kind of the stranglehold on Sam at this point.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ulting Lily, because you might have to... I mean, I think there is a Maelstrom Pulse in hand, but you could use it to basically act as a destroy a Planeswalker effect by making piles of a Planeswalker and all your lands.
It's true. I don't like upticking it if Ryan has even half useful cards in hand at this point. I think just leaving it on 6 sounds fine to me. Looks like I may have missed another couple.
Yep. Can I see your graveyard real quick? Sure. And the exile was the 2 that I exiled.
Yeah. Sven noting that killing 4 lands doesn't do much at this stage. That's true. As long as Sam is left with 4 lands, he could probably cast most of his walkers.
Post-combat, ultimate Lily.
Well,
I'll destroy Raging.
Okay, sure.
So Raging Ravine gets knocked out. Sam fetching up a land, and then we're going to see how the piles...
and if I have any
Turn
cards in my hand, usually what I do is if Liliana's ulted against me, I float all my mana. It doesn't matter because Sam doesn't have cards in hand, but it's something to think about because you can't float mana after piles are made. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
Make 2 piles, you pick one. Is that?
Yeah.
So,
It's been a while since I've
is there a way to cut Sam off a color here is what Ryan has to figure out. You're obviously creating 2 piles of 4, right? You're doing the Oath of Nissa with 3 lands and then 4 lands in the other pile. But could you arrange it to cut off a color? Or maybe take Sam off of 2 white. So you want
it's only 2 piles here, Ryan.
you want your pile of 4
especially with
to
the-
have more of the basics, and you want the Oath of Nissa in the pile that already has the most duels.
Maybe you want double white and double green in the Oath of Nissa pile. Oath of Nissa pile. And then a basic.
I love cards that force people to form piles. I mean, sometimes they're time consuming, but like Fact or Fiction,
Oh, it's great.
it's such an interesting part of the game that really is. It's a great thinking thing. Wow,
I take that pile.
Okay.
that's
This seems like a fine pile to take. I'll pick that one too, Sam.
Tap right now. I doubt it matters too much. But
No cards in hand.
but he did cut Sam off of blue.
I'm gonna cast
However, Oath of Nissa would still allow Sam to play blue walkers. Ooh, Tameo.
Oh, it looks Sam might be drawing some cards.
Sure.
Let's take a look at Tameo Field Researcher. Some pretty sweet art, I must say.
Okay. Tap up to 2 non-land permanent if they don't untap your. Okay.
Targeting these guys.
Yep.
Oh, we're going for the defensive use of Tameo here.
There's still no. Oh no. There's
Sam's still sitting on 10 life, so
the bird out and the bird.
he's in a decent spot, but that ooze is getting enormous.
Yep. Two life, 2 counters. And
The combo and Bob and ooze really kind of takes away the sweat
yeah. It's
of Bob flipping something interesting,
Gotcha.
or I guess of
Huh.
it mattering.
Oh,
Baby.
oh, these don't. Correct.
2 blood braids from Bob. Gotta love it. He's doing everything he can to kill Ryan here.
They will, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised how long this game has gone, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, given the start that we had. Is this a post-combat blood braid?
No, those are tapped from Tameo.
Oh, okay.
Do this. Yeah. Yeah. I'll bolt you.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. 7. Then I'm gonna haste into Tamio.
Yep.
And
So then,
your go.
okay, blood braid.
Wrath of God? Do we get it?
He's gotta. Oh yeah, because so Supreme Verdict's off the menu.
Okay.
Tameo again.
Yeah, tap these guys.
Sam is fighting hard here, but it does feel a bit futile.
Upkeep.
Futile, not futile.
Yep. Losing 1 off that Bob.
Would you
Tamio for 2.
would you scoop it up if you're Sam? He's fighting on so valiantly.
Wrath is still fine, right?
Alright. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if Sam drew literal Wrath of God, you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Planeswalkers and
Yeah.
your high end's good.
I'll try.
But it looks like that is not what was on top of Sam's deck. So we're going to game number 2.
And admittedly, that wasn't a short game, so clock is a thing here.
I am unsure of what is in Sam's sideboard. I am assuming Ryan's sideboard contains cards like Liliana the Last Hope, if it's not in the main deck. Usually that's in the sideboard as at least a one of. And some Fulminator Mages. I like both of those cards against Sam's deck. A lot of times you can, if you ping off the mana creatures and can Stone Rain Sam a couple times. You really need to be able to deploy these 4 and 5 mana planeswalkers to get ahead, and they're only really good when you are ahead. So, yeah, what do you think? Any cards you like bringing in?
If Ryan does have any Assassin's Trophy in the sideboard, I like Assassin's Trophy here. I don't think Sam can make that great of use of additional mana. It seems like his draw engines or his value engines are mostly associated with his planeswalkers themselves. So I like Trophy as a piece of removal here. I kind of like Ryan's basic game plan against Sam. Like, of these color combinations, I like being aggressive on Jund here.
I could see swapping out some Scavenging Oozes for something else.
Possibly. They're a little medium.
And Inquisitions also seem pretty medium as well, especially if you're on the draw.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think you want some discard spells to stay in.
Yeah, Thoughtseize
For
I
sure.
like just because you can hit those larger walkers, and Wrath effects.
I did see Ryan had access to Ancient Grudge, but I don't think I would bring it in here. I think if the only artifact you've seen is Heart of Kirin, you're more than happy to K-command Sam, if he even keeps those in, although if I'm on Sam's side, I probably just take those out.
Do you want to let people know how they can get what these icons are next to people's names and how they can get them?
Yeah, so, chat, these icons next to people's name are icons that you can get if you subscribe to the Portland Paper channel. We have a lineup of 4 invitational winners that go from months 0, starting at Snapcaster, all the way up to a full year of subscription, which results in you getting the Alirade Sylvan Safekeeper icon, which is truly a gem. Spider riding Ollie. And also, as Feudal's demonstrated, you can rep the hometown with the deceased PDX carpet.
Probably relevant in the Blazers playoff. If you're going to be in any playoff chats on Twitch, that could be cool.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, it's true. This has got multiple uses at this point. The Trailblazers are really kind of carrying our Magic channel at this point. Travis, I have a piece of PDX carpet.
I am impressed.
Mm-hmm. It's been chewed on by my dog, but I have a genuine piece in the shape of Oregon, although now it's more like the shape of maybe Montana or possibly Colorado.
Just maybe trim it a little bit, just shrink it. Yeah, the carpet went away. Was that like 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah. It survived for quite a while in the kind of like additional Alaska terminal that was the one where you like go down a bunch of staircases and jump on small planes. I forget what's it may be A. But the new carpet's okay.
Ooh.
I think it'll be cool in 80 years from now, maybe.
Okay, looks like we got an Inquisition here. And we have Island, 2 Path to Exiles, a Geist of St. Traft, a Snapcaster Mage, and a Gideon of the Trials.
This looks like a very serviceable hand for Sam.
Seems like all right.
Fine.
I mean, I don't think I'm unsure of what the hand would look like that I saw from Sam, where I'd be like, that is an awesome hand.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like you have lands and kind of expensive spells.
I guess I was judging it given the possible hands of the deck.
Okay. Well, picked up a Noble Hierarch there. It's a little acceleration on the curve. I guess Ryan taking the Geist would lead me to believe Ryan does not have a Liliana the Veil.
Sam rips the land. Gotta feel good. Drops the Gideon
Okay.
and pluses it out of bolt range here.
Well, there is a Lily on the Veil in Ryan's hand. Curious if that was a pickup. I kind of, if I had a Lily, I sort of would have liked taking Gideon more.
I agree. Lily lines up quite well against Geist of St. Traft.
I'm very familiar with being on the losing end of that equation.
Your go.
No, there's a Dark Confidant. See, there's 2 Path to Exiles that are hanging out in Sam's hand. And just kind of have to do that on your main phase. You're going to ramp Ryan a little bit.
Yeah, Sam's kind of wondering. He's like, it's too easy. It's almost like he wants me to path it. But
I
that's
mean,
the thing
yeah.
about Bob.
You still got to do it, and then
Yeah.
you can get in kind of healthy attack here with that Gideon if you wanted to.
I like that, getting a little aggressive.
Also, it's a fine time to 0 Gideon.
Create that emblem. I kind of don't think the emblem's that big of a deal. I definitely prefer the damage.
60.
Path, Sam. Pass. Do it. Do it. Don't do it in upkeep. No.
Oh, that triggers on the stack.
Beginning of upkeep, this trigger will go on the stack. If you let me go to my untap and go to
Okay,
Okay,
Ryan.
Ryan is just being a
Being a
good sport
pal.
and letting Sam know, like, yeah, if you wait, I'm going to get to draw an extra card.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, you can do it in some of your response, but eventually that trigger will resolve.
You bite the bullet. You don't want to ramp your... don't give him the card, Sam.
Trigger on the stack. Okay.
Oh, no, Sam.
Looks like Sam just valued the Ryan having an extra land or mana source more than the card, which I don't agree with that particularly. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I am just giving your opponents cards it's just always horrible.
Reveal for this.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the game's gonna not be about land. Like, I can't think of a 4-drop except for Bloodbraid that super matters, and maybe Ryan even draws a land off the Bob trigger, so. Alright.
Admittedly, if Ryan does not have a land here, he can't drop a Bloodbraid. Which is that's real.
Yeah, Thought sees you.
Yeah, Bloodbraid doesn't even necessarily kill the Gideon, though.
True. So Sam sitting on a Nissa Steward of Elements, a Path to Exile, and a Snapcaster. What are you interested in taking here, Travis?
I do the Snapcaster or the Planeswalker, depending on what my answers were. Kind of like the Planeswalker. Snapcaster doesn't have a lot of targets on the deck besides Path to Exile, and especially with Ryan having Planeswalker in hand.
I am on board with that.
or sorry, animate, go to combat.
Yep. Down to 9.
Sam passes.
Inquisition.
Ryan with quite a few discards. So interesting. If I were Sam, I think I would have just run out the Snapcaster and targeted the path in the graveyard, just to keep Ryan off of. I mean, you can path anything he plays this turn.
Yeah, I think there are arguments why not to do that, but I do like that line better.
So Sam will be able to just take that Lily out if he wants this turn. But if he doesn't draw a creature, I kind of like continuing to go upstairs and just try to get there.
I'm always just like think worst case situation, and if I would say if Ryan was at 8, I maybe would have thought more about just attacking Ryan, but with it being 3 attack steps, I sort of like dealing with Liliana.
I suppose. I just feel like Sam is getting already kind of buried in card advantage, and
Like the issue would be like if what happened, you attack Ryan down to 5, and then Lily's still there, and your Gideon gets removed, and then you're discarding any relevant card that you want to hang on to.
sure.
Yeah.
So I have priority now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking about some. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Plus, sure.
Plus targeting black leafless.
Yep.
All right. See another Gideon of the Trials. And I think both players have the redundant Planeswalker that got removed.
Travis, what are your thoughts on Gideon of the Trials?
It's interesting. It's neat that it's kind of like a 3-mana threat that doesn't get dealt with a Edict effect. Because in the control decks, that's been an issue with if you want to play like Geist in a control deck, you jam that on 3, then your opponent untaps and plays Liliana. But it's a little bit less aggressive than a card like Geist. I think it's interesting.
So I would almost compare it now that we have Gideon Blackblade. I actually think Gideon Blackblade is kind of an interesting comparison to this card. So let me bring that up.
Plus targeting Termagant.
Yep.
I had Dead Drift mentioning the Emblem on Gideon, which can be really relevant, especially against something like Burn, or if you're able to plus and then get an Emblem that just takes so many cards for them to actually deal with it.
Plus 1.
We'll get back to our Gideon discussion. This is
Okay.
a big deal with Nissa coming into play.
Cool. Anytime I fetch.
And it just makes that land a creature for good.
Is it for good? I thought it
I'm
was
pretty
until
sure,
your
right?
next turn.
I need some Nissa updates. They all do land things, and sometimes I get confused. I'm sorry, Chad.
So this is
End of next turn.
yeah,
Seems
I
like
believe it's one full turn cycle until. So this is Nissa Vital Force, and until your next turn.
Yep.
So that will be a creature until Sam untaps again.
This only lasts for one full turn cycle, right?
Yeah.
The 5/5.
Curious if
Next turn, yeah.
Ryan's gonna just drop a Liliana minus as a Stone Raid.
Sam probably wouldn't be terribly concerned about that. Although I guess he can
Sacrifice a creature.
kill the Nissa here with the Goyf. Is
Oh,
it Goyf?
Goyf was plussed by Gideon, so Goyf has been
Oh,
fogged.
okay.
There is that Raging Ravine hanging out there.
Or for Tamiya.
Yep, we get another friend.
Yep.
We have truly assembled the Super Friends here.
All plus Nissa.
So this is just lethal here
For 9.
if Ryan doesn't have an answer.
Doesn't look like an answer to me.
No, that
It looks like a thinking about it.
yeah, that feels like did not see this exact play coming. Probably dead. Have to just confirm. All right, Sam shows some fight there. The
Yeah.
friends come out and ties us up.
I do like these fringe strategies where you're able to leverage people not having played against the deck a lot, where you might know what the cards do and what they are, but you're not necessarily thinking about like what if you're Ryan, you might not have thought of like what is a card like how do I make decisions if my opponent top decks a Tamiyo, etc. So that's an advantage that Sam has playing a deck like Bant Superfriends, or whenever anyone plays kind of a little bit of an oddball deck. I think the Wilderness Reclamation deck was that for a little bit before people got familiar with how that played out.
Well, and playing against these Walker heavy decks can be kind of awkward too when you're trying to balance. If you don't feel like you can just straight up grind out the opponent by getting rid of Walkers every time they come out, when you're trying to decide, do I go upstairs with any damage or am I just managing the board always?
Yeah.
especially with some of these newer walkers, the uncommon ones and stuff, you know.
Years past, and I think I've only beat John
I believe it was like LSV or somebody that had said that Planeswalkers are some of the best life game spells.
That is
in
very true,
Magic.
definitely. And there are many times when I am perhaps dead on board, but have like some mana open, and I'll play a Teferi and uptick it, not draw a removal spell, and if my opponent just sends all the creatures at me, they would win, except they have to respect that I have something like a Path to Exile in hand, so are forced to attack Teferi, which can sometimes prolong the game enough to get back in it.
Certainly. So chat is curious what we think of the Leveler combo deck in Modern. Have you seen this deck, Travis?
Does that have to do with new Karn?
No, it
No.
actually has to do with new Jace. Jace, wielder of mysteries, who is essentially Lab Maniac Jace.
Right. And then Leveler is gonna have to give me an update. I read about this a little bit, but it's
So Leveler is, I believe, a 5 colorless mana 10/10 that exiles your library when
Right.
it enters the battlefield.
yeah, it's a 2-card combo.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Laboratory Maniac was a card when Leveler was a card too.
All right, well, we know what Travis thinks. I think it's cool, but I think I probably agree with Travis. So, doing some mulling here with 6 minutes left. Sam will be going down to 6 cards. Looks like Ryan has chosen to keep his 7.
You know what I bet did happen though? I bet Leveler went through a price spike.
Probably.
Do you know how much Mycosynth Lattice is worth now?
It's like $50.
I think it is even more than that. I think it's around 80.
Really?
Right now.
And
Yeah.
it was just reprinted in Battle Bond, and I bought a box of Battle Bond and didn't get one.
No.
Yeah. Ouch. I got Land Tax, which I was like, sweet, Land Tax.
Land Tax is a sweet card.
Yeah, but it's not $80.
All right, we get a tapped duel for Ryan and a fetch land for Sam.
Chat wants some chat wants your financial advice, Travis.
Well, my best MTG spec was picking up Snapcasters at $16 a pop whenever Treasure Cruise was going around, and the Treasure Cruise Delver decks were kind of dominating, and you didn't want to play Snapcaster in those too much, so they were really cheap. And I think I got like 16 of them.
It's a lot.
They asked me what my best spec was, I think, so I don't know right now what my best spec is. Ooh, I don't know. That was like the best historical one. But yeah.
Chat's just, they're so impressed.
Yeah. I feel like this is getting close to a roast, but we're not quite there yet. And yeah, we have Ryan just riding on the back of a Dark Confidant, which has happened in all 3 games here.
I have the most conservative best specs. My best specs were usually selling my cards for lands whenever I would get out of Magic for a while, and then hoping that the lands would gain value
Yeah, well,
when I came back.
real estate is usually one of the better investment strategies.
Yeah.
So Ryan has the potential for a clock right now. This Sigorf is kind of small, but it can get big in this matchup. Okay, well, I do remember I picked up Beta Bolts when they were $100, and then like 2 weeks later they spiked to $300. That's another good spec. Nothing recently though.
That's such a scary $100 card. It's such a scary spec when it's that high. I mean, you kind of know, right? Like, it's not that dangerous of a spec, but
okay, I
yeah.
got a good one right now. Humility, reserve list card.
yeah,
Really
super
cool.
sick. Yeah,
It's only like $30-something. Makes everything a 1/1.
yeah.
I mean, Moat's like a what, $600 card now?
That's true. Humility is also like one of the most complicated cards rules-wise, like ever printed.
Okay, but we are playing some Modern Magic here. This is not a financial podcast.
Yeah,
And,
chat. Come on, hijacking our broadcast.
well, that was kind of my fault. It looks like we're getting a basic island, and are we going to get a Gideon here? That's my guess.
Yeah.
God, you know what wins games really well?
Creatures that attack?
Yeah, and early bobs
Yeah.
that are the old art.
Maybe that's why Ryan's been getting such good flips.
Ooh. All right, cat's out of the bag. We saw the mountain again.
Oh, that's a good way to close the game, too.
That's the blood braid slam.
Oop.
Oh yeah, no. Sure, I'll take
Oh, it's a good hit.
Oh, random. Yeah.
Winner, winner, winner.
If you want to rent, they're just the same land, almost the same lands anyways. Slightly different.
I'm a big fan of the shuffle up the 2 cards going on the bottom and then have your opponent cut them, you know?
You could just ask which one of these 2 cards do you want on the bottom,
Yeah.
upside down.
And then promise that you'll never fetch for the rest of the game. Oh, looks like we are off a bit. We're actually at a minute left right now. So this game's coming down to the wire.
Well, that is one of the advantages that Jund has over Green-Black, has been pretty popular lately as a rock-style deck, is that Jund can actually close games with cards like Bloodbraid and Lightning Bolt. It has a little bit more reach, also Kolaghan's Command in there, and sometimes just Green-Black can kind of dirtle out where you have a commanding board position, but I have a hard time actually closing a game. And looks like Ryan values having that Gideon off the table.
I think it's probably the right long-term choice. We're going to hit turns here in 10 seconds.
That does grow the Goyf.
True. Jeez. Well, this game's probably going to be a draw.
Well, you can always hit more Blood Braids.
It's true. Blood braids into Goyfs.
All right, we are currently in turn 0.
Plus, you lose the other one anyways.
So, timing round. Turn 0.
Yep, so now players slowing down, perhaps thinking about sequencing. It's going to matter. And Ryan discards Lightning Bolt, so, wow.
I'm gonna fetch, taking.
Other cards must be pretty good. And Ryan dropping down to 15. We'll fetch Shock. Are we going to double spell here? Or are we going to get another Blood Braid?
Cast both cards in my hand.
Alright.
And here we go.
Double spell. Hitting turn 1 here. So Ryan is going to have to get there in 2 turns. So he gets 2 more turns to get there. I believe it's possible with that ooze.
You did play nothing. Okay.
You can get 2 activations of the Scavenging Ooze each turn.
Play land for the turn and plus.
And
Okay.
Sam's just going to
That happens.
play Snapcaster after Liliana pluses.
Okay, let me see how
now I don't think it's possible for... Actually,
artifact creature or land. Okay, creature.
is it?
So I have creature.
Well, no, it's Jund versus Bant.
Land. And you have planeswalker and artifact. So 6. Yeah, missing enchantment and trap.
Yeah, it would still work. Ryan has to get in with essentially 3 attacks total.
Creatures here.
It gets interesting when you're eating creatures because
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he needed to eat creatures
you
there.
can't eat all the creatures though because then you shrink your Goyf. I don't know.
But is there really only 1 in the graveyard? No, there's...
Turn I'll eat
Because the snap... yeah.
16.
Okay.
Oh, we on turns. I didn't know that.
On turn 3 right now when it goes back to Ryan.
Your turn
Yep.
too?
I'm gonna go clarify. With our players, they're confused which turn they're on.
That's it for creatures in your deck. Okay, so then I'll also pick up. Okay, so he's turn 2 on turn 3. Thank you. Tarmogoyf to that's the second one. I'm gonna fetch, taking another 3.
All right.
Ryan fetching, taking another 3.
Did not hear that. And I'll also beat Blood Braid.
Bloodbraid.
14. Or no, it should be 15 actually. 3 things, yeah. Minus 3. Minus 3 plus 3. Minus 3 from that, plus 3 from that.
This is a big swing. This looks like a swing for 11.
6, 7. Okay. Untap. Turn 3. Draw.
Ah, I see. We're hitting turn 3 now. This was end of turn.
Did we get, are all the creatures out of the graveyard right now?
Sure.
I I'm not sure.
Okay. In response, I'll float them in and exile Wrath of God. Okay. Oh, and then I get to go get a land, yeah.
Does he? Ah, I see. You were correct. He does, in fact, have 2 swamps. Enough to cast Liliana.
Yeah, you can either have these 3 or those 2.
Well, this definitely shuts off a Wrath of God being an out.
I think I had enough turns to kill you, but I mean,
you totally did. You
yeah,
totally did.
yeah. I mean,
Well, especially
So it looks like Sam concedes to Ryan, kind of seeing the writing on the wall and knowing that he's probably dead in the water. Very
yeah, with the
gentlemanly move.
Yeah, or either 2 or 3.
I do kind of like if I'm playing at a regular REL event and I know that my opponent is going to win the game. Like there's not,
Because that's what, if I played hard.
you know, if you have Wrath as an out, but you have to draw a land and then Wrath and you're dead the next turn. Yeah, I'll concede to my opponent. I feel like that is not required, but always feels good to do that and to have it reciprocated.
Yeah, I think you know, everybody ends, I think, generally happier about that anyway. A draw is not really, a draw doesn't really make anybody feel that great.
I'm curious if our next round we can maybe see some cool new cards. I wonder if anyone's playing Planeswalker heavy control deck or something like that. It's an interesting 5-0 list. I saw a Jeskai list that was playing new Teferi, new Narset, Jace. Seemed pretty cool.